I did something that like I don't think anybody else has done in the world. So when they bought the ticket, right, I gave them on the ticket. It had 2 QR codes. It had the Blink QR code and it had the Blue Wallet QR code.
Yeah.
And then it said download these 2 wallets. And then when you came to the event and I'd ask you at the door, like, did you download the 2 wallets? You're like, yes. Okay, cool. Here's half your ticket money back in Bitcoin.
Hello and welcome to another Joe Nakamoto interview. A quick heads up with this one. We dive into some pretty heavy topics. So if you're a bit squeamish, then skip to the 6-minute mark where we introduce Okin and discuss who he is and what he does in Bitcoin. Thank you so much. Sorry for the warning. And enjoy the interview. Cheers. You reckon Namibia's got the oldest culture in the world?
Language.
Language.
Because of like, well, they always say Southern Africa, but when you look at it, people say it's actually in Namibia, not South Africa itself, because people were moving around. So it's a nomadic tribe.
Okay.
Like they always just moved with the cattle and as they grazed. So there were no lines, I mean, the lines we have in Africa now came after World War II.
Yeah,
after
of course.
World War I, right?
Yeah.
World War II, when
Guilty
the Germans got Namibia, they got Tanzania. That's why Namibia's like map is like this.
I thought Germany, everything was taken away from Germany after the
before that.
World War II. You're
so
talking
World
War
War.
One.
So remember World War One, right? Happened. Then they did the first genocide, right? Which was it's called the Kaiser's Holocaust. That happened in Namibia.
Right.
There's a book about it. It's literally called the Kaiser's Holocaust, the book. And then
So this is Kaiser Wilhelm the First.
The first.
Okay, right.
And then after that, right? Then Second World War happened, but then they invaded. Everybody was like cutting up shit. So literally before the Second World War, Germany had Namibia, Tanzania, and I can't remember the other country. Now the thing is, Botswana, Namibia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, all touch this one place that's called the Caprivi Strip. This is literally the map of Namibia, right? Botswana's over here, you got South Africa down here, and you've got Angola up here. So this touches 3 or 4 different countries. The reason was the Germans were trying to make a way to get to Tanzania without having to go around everybody else's thing. But they fucked up because they didn't realize.
Around the Cape of Good Hope and all that.
Yeah, correct, because they'd have to pay like passages, right?
Yeah, and also the winds suck and it's kind of slow. And
But now here's the problem: they had to go through Zambia, Zimbabwe's literally the what's the Victoria Falls.
Oh yeah,
and
cool.
You can't put a boat through the Victoria Falls. Right? So that's what they learned.
Not yet, but
that's why we have the Caprivi Strip.
Cybertruck, maybe.
I mean, now we could probably do it.
That strip of land kind of reminds me of the Panhandle thing. Is it Oklahoma?
Correct.
Where it like juts
it's
out.
Literally
Why is that a thing?
Bro.
Yeah. Why is that a thing? Okay. But before we go any further, sorry, what was the first Holocaust then in Namibia? What was the Kaiser, what was he doing?
So Kaiser Wilhelm, basically, when he came and they were like, listen, this is now our land, the only people that rised up were the Oshiheros and the Damaras.
Wait, but you're Oshihero Demer, you are?
I'm Oshihero. Sorry, not the Damaras, Oshihero and the Namas.
Okay.
They stood up and were like, fuck no. And then he was like, okay, extermination order, kill anybody that doesn't comply. And then he was like, either you guys run into the desert towards Botswana and pray you make it, and you don't die there, or we shoot you here. And that's when Simon Maharero them were like, nah, bro. Him and Hendrik Witbooi, they were like, nope, wartime, let's go. But yeah, they wiped out like most of our population. That's why Namibia is so slow to progress. They killed, and remember, everything they did in Auschwitz and all those, they perfected on the Namibians already in World War One. There were concentration camps all across. We literally have a Shark Island that was an island of like, they made women skin their own husbands' heads that were beheaded, right? And then they took those skulls as trophies back to Germany and put them in museums. We only got the return of the skulls like in the last 3-5 years, where they actually returned people's skulls. They were like, bro, it's messed up. If you read the book, there's pictures of it. You'll see the guys.
This is worse.
With chains upon their necks against each other. Fully like the same way you see in Auschwitz, where people are like disappearing. Like you see it with black people in Namibia.
Yeah, I recently rewatched Band of Brothers.
No, yeah.
And the scene when they arrive in Auschwitz. I mean, I've been to Auschwitz. I've been to Auschwitz twice.
Shit. I don't want to go there.
I think it's important to go. It's important to see the scale of destruction and see the potential for humans to commit evil.
Namibia, bro. Just come through. We'll show you. It's all we have a whole.
Welcome to my country. Here is my Holocaust.
I'm not going to another one.
Okay.
I've seen it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you're of course Okin from Namibia, but your real name is Nikolai. I forgot your surname.
Try it, Joe. You can do it.
I actually can't remember it.
Shongarero.
Shongarero. Yeah. I've drawn a blank. Sorry. So welcome. And how are you doing today?
I'm great, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Your voice is particularly bassy. Why is that? Hey.
African Bitcoin conference after party.
I didn't go out, so I am smooth. I couldn't.
Yes, you did abandon us, Joe. You did abandon us.
I apologise. Hence why we're drinking lovely chai tea.
Amazing chai tea.
It's good, man. That's your soundbite. Amazing chai tea. It sounds like an advert, dude. Okay. So you wear many hats as well as the one you're wearing now. Local is global. Of course, you're a Bitcoin educator. You're a podcaster. You used to be a musician for a while. You're a miner, and now you're also working at Start9 Labs.
Yep.
How do you sum up what you do within the Bitcoin space? Oh, you're an MC as well.
Oh, yeah.
As a Bitcoin MC.
Yeah, for next year's Adopting Bitcoin conference in Cape Town. I'd say I'm the one that's not afraid to try things. If there's an idea out there and I'm like, I don't know how to do it, I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay.
I'm a researcher by heart, basically.
Researcher. Why are you a researcher?
It's my hobby.
Okay.
Like literally, most people think my hobby is writing poetry because I've written poetry since I was like 13 years old and been in a couple of anthologies. But research is my hobby. I like to know what I don't know. I like to figure it out. I like to, I love puzzles, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
What keeps you coming back to? I mean, you've been into Bitcoin for, is it 6 or 7 years now?
What year are we in now? We're almost in 2025, so almost 6 years now.
Okay. So what keeps you coming back to Bitcoin? What are you still researching within the Bitcoin space?
Again, puzzles. I think a lot of people have different versions of what they say Satoshi Nakamoto was. I think he was a puzzle master. He saw how all the pieces came together that already existed and why they had to come together that way. So yeah, that's I think what brings me back is there's still so much to discover, still so much to do, still so much that, man, I mean, like you could go from the mathematics to the philosophy, then you could jump into like the social aspects and everything else. Like there's so much.
Yeah.
So I think that's
Satoshi
it.
was a puzzle master. I like that.
Yeah, I think so.
I did a puzzle yesterday at the giraffe feeding station. I don't know what you call it. It's surprisingly tricky, given how tired and a little bit hungover that I was. Okay, so for this pod interview today, I wanted to talk a little bit about Bitcoin in Namibia.
Okay.
Also, Bitcoin in Africa at large, although obviously it's kind of like silly to try to address Bitcoin in Africa, although we do all the time.
Correct.
And yeah, where you see this space is going, because you've seen the progression of Bitcoin in Africa, but you also have like Germanic roots. Is that fair to say? Like you are, I mean, you live in Namibia now, right?
Yeah.
But you spent a lot of time in Germany as a boy.
No.
No. Do you speak fluent German?
Yeah, Namibia, because we were colonized by Germany. You have a lot of German influence. I went to a German private school from like grade 5 to grade 12. And I mean, there's like a ridiculous amount of German people in Namibia. If you go to Swakopmund and you look at the buildings, just how they've been constructed, and it looks like old school German town.
Wow.
Like if you were going to go to Germany, you'd be like, oh, okay.
But all the old school German towns in Germany were bombed in the war. So
they came over to my place and decided to build them.
Oh, I see. Okay. Is it similar to how there are lots of French in the Ivory Coast or Senegal, or how there are lots of Brits in Kenya? There's just that sort of hangover.
So from the colonial times, and then people started living in Namibia and becoming. So we have a literal Namibian German population, right, where they identify as Namibian Germans.
Okay. Yeah. And does that mean they could live in Germany as well?
Well, a lot of them, if you can trace your roots back to like your grandfather or your great grandmother, whatever, if you have those documents, then you can claim your German passport. I mean, I have a cousin that she claimed her German passport, her European passport, because she could tie everything back to her great grandfather who was German.
Wow. Part of the EU then as well.
Apparently.
Although Germany did sell all their Bitcoin, so
thank the Lord.
It's a good thing.
More
right?
for us, right?
It's true.
Or Sailor, whichever way you see it. Sailor, stop buying, please.
Yeah, it is getting to that point, isn't it? It's is it a speculative attack on Bitcoin by a Bitcoiner? Don't know how that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think that what I said just made sense. Okay, so Germany, Namibia. What's the Bitcoin scene like in Namibia? Obviously, you're a big proponent for spending Bitcoin.
Okay.
Are there other spenders in Namibia?
Well, there wasn't before. Everybody was talking about hodling. I remember when I got into Bitcoin, so to say. And I just, you know me, I just started talking. I was like, "What? This thing is great. You guys need to." And people were coming up to me like, "Shh, why are you talking about this?" Like, and I'm like, "It's not a secret, bro. Like, other people know. Why didn't you talk about it? Like, how long have you known? Like, you know." And as time went and I started spending more Bitcoin, because I was like, the only way people are going to accept Bitcoin is somebody has to spend it. But not just once or twice. You got to spend regularly, right? So that they like weekly, they're like, bro, he's coming through and he's just doing meetings here and he's spending here. And it's like, so we got the first place with the Wolf Shack. It was literally just me sitting there continuously talking the owner's ear off about Bitcoin while I'm drinking and eating burgers. And he was like, bro, we'll give you the venue. You don't even have to pay. Just stop talking to me about it. Throw an event and show us. So I threw an event, and after the event, it was like, oh my God, okay, listen, how do we do this? And I was like, okay, what's your slowest
So during that event, presumably everyone turned up and started paying in Bitcoin.
Yeah, so
and he sort of realized the value of it.
So I did something that like I don't think anybody else has done in the world. So when they bought the ticket, right, I gave them on the ticket. It had 2 QR codes. It had the Blink QR code and it had the Blue Wallet QR code.
Yeah.
And then it said download these 2 wallets. And then when you came to the event and I'd ask you at the door, like, did you download the 2 wallets? You're like, yes. Okay, cool. Here's half your ticket money back in Bitcoin. So now just by buying your ticket, you bought Bitcoin, KYC free. Right? So now we start the conversation of what you hold and the fact that you can buy beers and burgers inside and tacos with that Bitcoin I just gave you.
Okay. Yeah.
So go forth and be prosperous, right? A lot of people just held the Bitcoin. They were like, I'm not spending this. Like, I just got Bitcoin. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay.
But that started a conversation. So even they were sitting there like, hold on, like you made it so everybody can like just start buying food and drinks here. And then we moved on from there to me asking like, what's your slowest day, you know, of the week on sales? And they're like, yes, nobody comes through really on Thursdays. I'm like, all right, so cheapest stuff on the menu. And they're like, beer and a burger. I'm like, all right, take out the chips, just want the burger, just the beer. And then I will sit here every Thursday from lunchtime till you guys close. And I'll argue with anybody about Bitcoin. Bring them through with all the fun. And then I'm going to pay for their meal in Bitcoin.
Right.
And then the central bank called. Yeah,
for a burger and a beer with you.
That's actually what happened, bro.
No.
The central bank called. I was sitting there like, is that Okin guy there? And the manager looks at me. I'm like, I'm not here, bro. And they're like, yeah, we'd like to book a table for 13 to 15 people. The Bank of Namibia people are coming through, and the FIC, which is like the Financial Intelligence Center people, right?
What's the equivalent? Is it the SEC in the US or
basically that type of
or FCA in the UK, something like that?
I think it's probably like the SEC, but I can't remember. But yeah, so they came through, massive table. I was freaking out the night before. I was on Twitter. I was like, oh my God, dude, they're gonna lock me up. They're like, Okin, you know what you're talking about. So like, just tell them. So yeah, they came through, and I had to explain custodial versus non-custodial to bankers because they didn't understand it. Right. They were trying to spend from their Coinbase account.
But so they had Bitcoin previously.
So they bought it because there was an ATM up, right?
Yeah.
So and they went there to like, of course, see what's happening. How does the ATM work, so they could try and regulate. They all bought Bitcoin. So when I was like, yo, you can come spend Bitcoin, they're like, oh great. They come through. I'm like, okay, everybody sit back down. Let's have a conversation about why you cannot spend from an exchange account like Coinbase, right? You need to move it to non-custodial. And we went through, that time I was still using Moon Wallet, I think, and Breeze. And I got them all Breezes and Moon Wallets. I'm like, okay, now you move it over. Oh, there's a fee. Yes, there's a fee. And I explained on-chain fees to them. And then they started spending. They spent like over 7,000 Namibian dollars on burgers and beers. Dude, it's $50 for a burger and beer special. They spent like literally thousands just buying for the family, taking home. Like, I was like, this is what I like to see.
Wow. So you're orange pilling central bankers?
Well, I wouldn't say orange pilling. I'd say Bitcoin introductions.
Yeah.
Because you can't really orange pill other people.
No, I'm glad you corrected.
But definitely they were like, oh my goodness, we can actually do this. And then they started, calling us for like sit downs and stuff too. Like,
how long ago was this?
This was about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
So almost peak of the last bull run.
Yeah, let's say 2020. Yeah, 2020, 2021, somewhere around there.
Okay. And do you know what's happened since?
Oh, you mean regulation-wise?
Well, as in like, what are these bankers doing with this newfound Bitcoin knowledge?
Oh, well, I don't know. They never came back to me on that one. But yeah, I mean, basically like last year, they released the Virtual Assets Act of Namibia in July.
Which is one of the first in Africa, wasn't it?
Correct. But this one was written alongside Bitcoiners. So it's Bitcoin friendly.
Oh, okay.
Because now they were like, I mean, the guy that got me into Bitcoin, I tried since 2012 and like, got it right in 2019. He literally gave the Minister of Finance and the governor of the central bank both copies, like physical copies of the Bitcoin Standard.
In English?
In English.
Oh, wow, okay.
He gave them copies, and then like, from there, because 2018 Bitcoin was completely illegal in my country still.
Really?
Yeah, it was completely illegal. It was,
Like it was in lots of
it
African
was
countries. Yeah.
illegal, bro.
Okay.
Like, and this guy was like, bro, I've been mining since 2010. Like, let me help you guys understand the whys. He's even like Mt. Gox people payouts.
Okay.
So he's really an OG Bitcoiner. And he got the conversation started, and then they were like, all right, like, let's call in everybody from the ecosystem and say, all right, come and tell us why Bitcoin or why not, and why we should or why we shouldn't, because we have to go and give something in. Otherwise, World Bank and all those people were coming down on pressure with what's this thing? Anti-money laundering and terrorist financing. Like, who's going to terrorist finance from Namibia? But okay, whatever. So yeah, we got to sit in that.
Valid question. Yeah. Okay. Wow. So now Bitcoin is, of course, legal in Namibia, and
Not legal tender, but it's
No, of course
legal
not.
to utilize.
Yeah. No, it's only legal tender.
No
in
capital gains
one country.
tax.
Yeah. Okay. No capital gains at all.
No tax on mining.
Right. Okay. And
Because we get taxed on everything else. Once you move into fiat, you get taxed. You
Oh, I
stay in
see.
Bitcoin. That's why I'm trying to build a Bitcoin circular economy. Stay
I
in
see.
Bitcoin.
So, but in theory, then you could mine Bitcoin and then spend that Bitcoin, and you wouldn't have to pay any tax on any of those legally.
Legally.
Yeah, Bitcoiners did help you write
come,
this law.
come to Namibia.
Well, that's wild. But
That's why I
you are
always say-
mining, or your friend is still mining. Are you still mining in this big way, small way? What
No,
does it look
so
like?
I've switched off my miners because the electricity is like just too much. So it's
Okay.
more, what I do now is I take my miners to go show people how mining works.
Right. Okay.
If they have like solar set up, I'll be like, listen, let's run it for a month here so you can understand. And if you like it, then you can buy your own miners. Like I'll help you.
How
I'll
do you
help
get
those.
how do you get miners into the country? Is it hard or because okay?
Not at all. So like when I bought my 3 miners, again, I did my MBA in China. So I was there like 2016, 2017, 2018. I graduated 2018. And then when I realized this Bitcoin thing, I'm like, wait a minute, all these miners are made in China. So I called up the people that I was literally in class with in China. And I'm like, hey, can you get me Bitcoin miners? And then the one woman was like, bro, I work for Brains. I was like, okay, cool. And then she
Was it Brains has a Chinese office?
yeah.
Oh right, because Bitmain's obviously Chinese.
Sorry,
and-
yeah, no, not Brain. Sorry, Bitmain. She worked for Bitmain.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't know why I
I
said
think-
Brains. So she worked for Bitmain.
Yeah.
And then she started her own like company where she was basically just the middle person to help, like,
Just helping get miners out of China.
yeah, for whoever wants them, right? And like she's doing really well for herself. And then she
I
became
bet.
my supplier. And I bought 3 miners.
Mm-hmm.
The reason was I wanted to see what the process was like to bring them into Namibia. So like, is it difficult? How much is it in import tax? All of those things. So like, if I go and I'm like, okay, when I started Bitcoin mining in Namibia, it was like, now I know how to get them in. I know the costings. I know how long it takes. I know DHL's movements. I know FedEx movements. I know how we can do this. And then I started bringing in miners for people, and that's how I created Bitcoin mining in Namibia, or BTC mining in Namibia.
Wow. Okay. And at what sort of scale are we talking about? Are we talking a
Right,
container?
right
or?
now we're talking very little. Like most people just buy 1-2 machines, but now coming February, so basically life's really weird in Bitcoin. But I've been invited recently to talk at a lot of like internet forums, like things, and like AI and emerging technology, like forums and stuff. And then there's a lot of ministers in Namibia, and then there's a lot of deputy ministers and ministers that attend these things. So after the first one I did, the deputy minister of trade, industry, and industrialization, as well as the deputy minister of information and technology were there. So afterwards they were like, bro, we need to have a conversation. I'm like, all right, cool. And then like I did just now before we came to Kenya, I did the one with the internet forum one, and then they were like, okay, no, seriously, when are you back in Namibia? And I'm like, oh, February. And they're like, okay, let's sit down and let's talk, because like this Bitcoin mining thing you're talking about, let's make that work. And I was like, thank you. It only took 4 years of me trying to get you guys to listen, but yeah, it
Whoa.
worked.
What's the energy mix? What does it look like in Namibia? Wasn't Namibia historically an oil-rich nation similar to other?
No, like so with us, it's everything else. We have copper, we have everything. Like when you talk about resource, we have uranium, right? But now we've recently found a ridiculous amount of oil. Like in the last year, like Shell's gotten like 3 or 4 massive findings of oil in the, I can't remember what it's called, the something basin.
Right. Okay.
So now that's coming in, but we're not really an energy-rich country. right? Again, we're 3 million people scattered over like a ridiculous
It's a huge landmass, yeah.
Landmass is
It's bigger than South. Is it as big as South Africa? Or?
Just as big, maybe just a little bit smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, the Capri strip makes it look like it's a bit bigger also.
Mm.
But yeah, but we've only got 3 million people.
Okay.
Just recently, we were always like 2.5, 2.7, you know.
Yeah.
But just recently, our census was completed this year, and it's 3 million people.
Okay.
Of that 3 million people, you've got maybe about a million, like 500,000 to a million living in the capital alone, and everybody else is scattered.
It's Windhoek.
Yeah, Windhoek. Everybody's in Windhoek.
How do you pronounce it?
Windhoek.
Oh, okay. It sounds like Afrikaans in a way.
It is. Like,
oh, it
so
is.
The literal translation into English is windy corner.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, because it's in the valley. So it's
Okay. Windhoek. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
3 million. I hadn't actually done a huge amount of research about Namibia prior to this,
3
but
million people.
that is tiny. You know,
Like
that's smaller than an
13
El
different
Salvador.
tribes.
yeah. So incredibly hard to organize, and they all want different things. And
Correct.
Okay, so could Bitcoin be this unifying factor?
I think it could. I think Bitcoin has an immense opportunity in Namibia. I'll give you an example. So we're a desert arid country. And with that comes the thing of desalination plants being built. I was talking with Kenobi them about this, and I was like, bro, I need you to hook me up with the guys you know that have already done this. Because why are we using conventional methods to build and heat up desalination plants to, you know, that heating process that needs to be happening for the separation, when you can use the heat from Bitcoin miners to do that?
So are you collecting seawater?
Yeah.
Is it? I've seen these in Cape Verde, like in West Africa,
Correct,
where they put these huge fields out, and they let the sun do the work.
Mm-hmm.
But in Namibia, you're talking about actual industrialized processes. So they bring in the seawater, I guess, leave them in tanks, or how do they dry it out?
I don't actually know how the full process works. I mean, we only have one desalination plant up, or two maybe now.
But it must guzzle a lot of energy, right?
A ridiculous amount. So they put up like solars, like massive amounts of solar, and they are trying to do it in like a part of the country called Luderitz. It's also further down from like Walfish Bay and Swakopmund along the coast, but it's insanely windy in there. So that's where they have all the wind turbines and stuff up. So it's a bit easier for them to maybe do it in Luderitz. But the whole point of this is like they're already using renewable energies to, you know, try and electrify these places. But the problem is, of course, you're still going to have stranded energy. You never use 100%.
No, of course
so
not.
either way, the Bitcoin miners should come in to at least monetize what you're literally wasting, because it's not stranded energy. That's wasted energy. You're wasting it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, if you can use that miner in the heating process, now you're doing a 2-for-1. You're earning Bitcoin, but you're also able to do the heating process with the machine that you've already purchased.
Is this a proof of concept you're talking about?
No,
or
it's
is
already
this-
been done.
is-
This has already been done.
Oh, so Kenobi
Kenobi knows guys that have already done this in somewhere in Europe. I can't remember where.
probably southern Europe somewhere where it's hot
But I know
and
it's
dry
already
as well.
been done. Like they are, and I know guys in the US that have done it too.
Right.
I had a couple of conversations with them about a year ago, and I'm like, why are we playing this game, bro? Like, we're a nation of only 3 million people. Let us leapfrog people. Like, we can do this.
I keep hearing this. Keep hearing leapfrog
You
in
gotta
Africa.
leapfrog
And
people, bro. Like, because we were locked out of so many opportunities for so long that now, and that's why I always tell people, there's absolutely no way that in my mind I can see Satoshi as a person, a group, whatever, that didn't have a ridiculous amount of people from, and I love the fact that Femi came up with this, global majority countries, not global south, because nobody says the global north, global majority countries. So I'm talking about Africans, South Americans, Asians, those, because Bitcoin is just too perfect of a tool for us, right? So I don't see how somebody or a group only of Westerners makes something all of a sudden that, you know, solves all these African and Asian and South American problems without consulting them on what the problem is. So I just don't see it that way.
Yeah. This is why I love doing interviews and content in emerging markets, because there's such a slightly different approach. Like in the West, it's a lot of stacks outs hodl, blah blah blah, and central banking. I get it, but it sort of misses out on this step of empowerment and of change and of progress and of development and when you look at the nation of Africa, or the continent of Africa,
you could
with
say
regards
nation.
to-
We should become a nation.
Yeah, do you think so?
Yeah, United States of Africa, bro. Let's go.
but you look at all the energy generation, and it is very stranded. It is in the middle of nowhere, or it's being wasted.
Correct.
And so, Bitcoin mining unlocks a lot of that. And that's one of the big things that surprised me this year with this conference was the emphasis on mining. I was talking to the miners from Zambia, you know, Sid and
Correct. Yeah.
his colleague. I saw him this morning. I didn't get to catch his name properly.
I can't remember his name either.
Yeah.
Like he
He
was
owns a
wearing the
nightclub or
green-
something.
the green-
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a nice
really
guy.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about it too, because it's like, bro, we're neighbors. Like, we'll help you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like tell us when you're talking to the minister, we'll come.
And that's exactly why it's cool, because there's a sense of collaboration. And listen, we can the pie is like, it's crumbs right now. We can make it into a pie.
Yes,
And
correct.
but seriously, like 3 years ago, who was mining in Africa? Like gridless was starting out.
Correct.
Now Ethiopia's got like, is it 2% of the hash rate? It's an insane number.
2.5% of the global hash rate. They made 55 million US in like 6 months
Whoa.
off of like Bitcoin mining. It's like,
That's 55,000 Bitcoin, isn't it? Oh, wait, is that right?
well,
Is that maths?
They had the Bitcoin. They should have just held it.
Presumably they're cashing out a lot, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, okay.
I hear they're cashing out a lot.
But the Ethiopian government will be getting rich because of that money coming
Definitely,
through.
but they're selling to Sailor again. So that's the other problem. They should sell it to like other Africans. Let's help us get more Bitcoin before Sailor gets it.
Do an African discount or something.
Yeah.
Then you have to KYC. It wouldn't work. Okay. So what are the sort of? Or what? Let's flip it. What are the challenges that you see in Namibia, and what are the things that you butt your head against? Like you give the example of these bankers who live in a different world, but once they get it, they're like, oh, okay, cool. So what about, say, volatility or scams and Ponzi's, and what sort of things do you come up against and you think, oh, I wish that could
Well,
be
I mean,
improved?
like the scam conversation never goes away, right? Like that one's always a problem. No, I know somebody that knows somebody that got scammed in Bitcoin, and I'm like, Bitcoin didn't even know they exist, bro. They gave their money to a scam. It could have been gold. It could have been anything that they were trying to get and got scammed. Don't give your money to scammers, right? Like, secondly, when it comes to volatility, my conversation's always, I know it's a bit of a jab at people, and they're like, yeah, Bitcoin's so volatile. I'm like, Bitcoin's not volatile. How much it takes you to purchase Bitcoin is volatile in your fiat currency. One Bitcoin's one Bitcoin. How much?
Say that again. How much it takes you to purchase that?
Yeah, so basically what I'm saying here is one Bitcoin is always one Bitcoin. How much it costs for you to get one Bitcoin in fiat is going to be volatile. That goes up and down. The Bitcoin isn't volatile. It's how much you're trying to get it for, right?
That's still, I
It's a
know
jab,
exactly what
it's
you
a
mean.
jab,
I know
it's a
exactly what you
jab.
mean. And it does make your head a bit, you want to scratch your head a little bit. But that sort of thinking takes a long time to get to. I think that's probably at least a year down the rabbit hole before you realize, oh wait, one Bitcoin is one
Convo
Bitcoin.
in their head, like, what does he mean by that?
Yeah. Well, it starts the combo, this guy is mental.
Well, it's like when I started like charging my consultation fees and stuff in Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
I literally put out the tweet. I'm like, I don't care what the fiat equivalent is. My price is in Bitcoin and it's not changing. Not year on year. I'm not increasing the rate. What's increasing is the fact that you're trying to pay me in the cash equivalent, and that's going to go up. It might be 2,000 today, and then next year it's 20K because I'm still charging the same amount of sats.
Yeah.
It's just what you got to pay me in fiat. Otherwise, pay me in Bitcoin and it's fine, bro. Just pay me in Bitcoin.
Although I have tried that negotiation tactic, and I had a small sponsorship deal. I think it was over the summer, and it was like point zero something. And I tried to go back to them 4 months later recently and be like, "Yo, we're going to do the same. We're going to do the same deal, guys." And in effect, you've given yourself a 45% pay increase. So I think the way to do it is to lock in sponsors on Bitcoin as the medium exchange unit of account, and well, I guess store of value if you're able to save it. And then calculate it during a bull run, you're a genius. But I mean, it's like Coin Corner, they zap me daily, which is awesome.
Okay.
I think this is also the future of advertising or zapvertising, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I mean, technically a zap is not a lightning transaction. A zap is a lightning transaction with a message, so I should use that correctly. But, I'm being lightning transacted every day by Coin Corner, and we locked in at Bitcoin price, but it was like the first time it hit 69K this March, so I spent 6 months of it underwater. Now I'm a genius.
Now you're a genius,
sure,
right?
Yeah, now I'm a genius, but I did spend, and
That's
so
6 months was tough, right?
So I've still got a few more weeks before it's technically the amount that it would have been in fiat. However, the fiat, of course, has also lost its purchasing power because we're in the UK. It's roughly 2% inflation, but we all know that's BS, because you go to the petrol station, you go to the pub,
Right.
and it's completely out of whack with the reality of what the economists say. Is that what it's like in Namibia, or is it pie in the sky ideas? Is it like holding a finger to the wind?
Well, I mean, for the most part, I think that language matters, right? And the words we use are intentional. The word inflation is used intentionally because people don't understand what it means. They're just like, oh no, the government said inflation is this, and like inflation is the problem. And it's like, what is inflation? It's a loss of purchasing power. Why not just say that so people can understand, oh, you're devaluing my money? Because remember, in Namibia, and I always tell people, it's like the craziest thing. We celebrate when they devalue our money because we don't understand it. I'll give you an example. Right now, we're on our 4th president. Right, we just voted in our first woman president in Namibia, right?
First one in Africa?
No, second one in Africa. First one's in Tanzania.
Oh, did not know that. Sorry.
It's the second one in Africa.
Okay.
We should have gotten.
When was she voted in, the Tanzanian one? Is it a recent thing?
Oh,
or?
I think it was like 2 years ago or something.
Okay.
Or a year ago. Like she's been there for a while.
But did her voting in Tanzania sort of lead to?
No.
No.
Ours was a totally different. Like our government has been trying to do let's get 50% representation for like years, and then from there it was like let's get 50% representation if we can into like the ministers and deputy ministers being male and women. Like get more of the convo in here.
The idealist in me was thinking that no, this is just like a brilliant person who's come out of nowhere, and she is a woman as well.
She's a brilliant person, but at the same time, it's also a thing of like you have to build a structure up on like brick by brick, because you got to remember the boys club is a boys club everywhere.
Oh, and in sub-Saharan Africa, it's the boys club,
old school boys club. Right?
Old. Like I wouldn't be accepted in that because I'm too young. I'm also white, but like
even I'm too young. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, bro, you need like 20 more years on you.
Yeah,
you know?
seriously.
So when we have these discussions, it's like, okay, when we had our 3rd president, the late Hage Geingob, like he passed away as president. Right? He actually passed away while he was still in his presidency. And when we got him as president, they were like, the central bank was like, hey, we've got this new 30 Namibian dollar note, and it's got all our presidents on it, and like you can get it by the bank, or you can just go withdraw it from the ATM.
30 million?
No, 30 Namibian dollar note. So like just $30 note. So it's the same as rand. It's the same equivalent, right? Rand, the Namibian dollar is pegged to the South African rand.
Right.
So it's 1-to-1.
But it's still just the number of 30 million.
No, not million. 30 Namibian dollars.
Oh, sorry, I keep hearing million for some reason.
It's the way I pronounce it.
Okay.
So what happened was we were like, oh yeah, we got new notes, like to celebrate this. But they didn't say bring in 3 $10 notes or 20 and a 10 and we'll give you the 30. They just gave you the 30. So what does that mean? They just out of thin air created a bunch of $30 notes and threw it at the public. You just devalued everybody's currency, and we are cheering for this. Another one, hey, we've got to, like, we need to get the new governor of the central bank's signature on the $100 note, so we're releasing a new $100 note. You didn't tell us to bring back the old $100 notes to get the new one. You just threw a bunch of hundreds in. So how much has our currency actually been devalued? Nobody really knows, right? Because it's not just inflation. You're doing this other thing too, and you're doing, So like the combination is like
it's theater.
And I'm like, guys, Bitcoin. I used to be a broke artist. Okay, 2019 moving into 2020 was the first time I saved money into a new year.
Now you're an artist.
I mean, now I'm just an artist, right?
Yeah.
Like I get to, because I spend my Bitcoin. I always say life is for the living, so live it. You gotta live it. Those that no longer are alive would like to be alive probably, but we still have the chance to live. So I spend my Bitcoin because it allows me to live in a way I've never been able to live. Of course I save some, but for me, it's a store of value, but it's definitely a medium of exchange. I use it. I buy plane tickets, I buy food for people. 2019, I never thought I'd just rock up and be like, hey, mom, you want a steak? I'll buy you steak. Hey, bro, you want a steak? Like, who wants steaks? Like, I got it. Now that's my reality.
Yeah, and I guess you've been living off Tando while you've been in Kenya?
Oh, my goodness. Tando is a problem, bro. Like, I just be spending on Tando. You can take your Uber, tell him, yo, I'm paying you in cash.
I did that yesterday, by the way. I didn't know you could do that. I was actually still very guiltily. I was paying with my linked card because usually I buy Uber, Bitrefill, Bitcoin vouchers, but you can only do it for the country you're in. So for me, mine's locked to Portugal. If I try to do it in another country, you've basically bought a redundant gift card. So I've done that once and realised. And since then, I've made a video explaining it.
I bought one and it was a South African one. I was like, oh my goodness.
Which is a bit of a... But the funny thing is I showed that to Sergey Kotlar, the CEO of Bitrefill, in a bar once, and he was like, oh, I didn't even know that. Because he did it to himself inadvertently as well. So it's just one of those things. I mean, when you are a gift card company that has thousands of gift cards, obviously each one is technically unique. But the point was, we're on Tando, and the Uber thing with cash. So I didn't realise that You can select cash as an option in lots of countries, particularly in Africa. But when you get there, you don't actually pay them in cash. You pay them in Bitcoin via Tando, which M-Pesa's their phone.
Yes.
And then the best part about that is that they're like, how did you do that?
Exactly.
And you say, oh, it's with Bitcoin. They say, oh, but so Bitcoin has, you know, you can see their light bulb going off. They're like, oh, Bitcoin has value. So then you're like, boom, yeah, I'll give you a tip in Bitcoin. And then I do it the same as you with Blink. What you're quite a Blink maxi for newbies, right?
Well, not really a maxi. For me, the thing was with Blink, it's the easiest method for people to firstly accept Bitcoin, but at the same time, there's like that earn section at the bottom right where they can learn about Bitcoin while they get paid like 1 sat, 2 sats.
That for me is what's brilliant.
And that does a lot. It goes a long way for people to just start understanding what's going on, start understanding what a Lightning invoice looks like versus a Bitcoin in like BC1 invoice, and then like, you know, getting a Lightning address and all that. It brings a lot of the things around. Also, I mean, you can use a point of sale on, like Blink has its own point of sale machine type thing, a dashboard that allows you to do like even batch payments, all those things. So like it allows for a lot of functionality, but that comes at a cost. It's a custodial, you know, solution, everything. And that's what I love about Bitcoin. It shows you that there is no free meal. Right? Like even if we show you a zero now, okay, move it to cold storage. You're gonna pay, right? But more than everybody else because this is a custodial solution.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more a thing of like, and that's why I have conversations. I always say like meet people where they are, yes, but have a conversation with them. Find out what their touch points are, and then you'll know what wallet would be best for them. I know guys that are never gonna spend their Bitcoin. They are literally just, this is my savings. I don't save in the bank anymore. I save in Bitcoin. Absolutely no reason for me to give them a Lightning address, right? Then I start telling them, yo, this is how Sparrow wallet works. This is how Blue wallet works. And then you can get a watch-only wallet from your Sparrow, and then you can just literally deposit Bitcoin without touching your Sparrow wallet or your computer at all because you've got the watch-only on your phone. Right? But to spend from that, you got to go back to Sparrow and then do the whole process.
Yeah.
So it, again, is almost like having a multi-sig with yourself. Or I wouldn't say a multi-sig, but like, you know, it adds another layer of something you have to do to be able to spend your Bitcoin. And then when you're sitting there, you're like, do I really want to make this purchase? Like, I really want to move this Bitcoin, or should I go try and hustle for some fiat and go buy it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it changes the way you think about things.
The watch-only wallets, I never really understood them because I always just assumed that everyone walked around knowing pretty much exactly to the Satoshi how much Bitcoin they have. You know what I mean? You know, I think people do though, don't they? I mean, a lot of people go around knowing exactly how much Bitcoin Sailor has. So
that's also
they definitely know. Yeah.
Pocket watching and stuff. I don't like that. Like, I don't like when people pocket watch, and it's happening a lot in Bitcoin.
Yeah,
And I'm like, why are you talking about how much money that person has? Like, to just accumulate your own, do your own thing.
Yeah, no, it's
Pocket
true.
watching is a disease.
But I understand now because there's a couple I met in Lisbon at a meetup, and they were explaining that watch-only wallets work quite well for if you're in a relationship or a family or something, and you just want to keep an eye on the finances and keep a track on it. I was like, oh, okay, I understand it more. Because I literally thought it was just a question of, I want to see the number of Bitcoin or number of sats I've got at a distance.
It's literally a security feature. Like, so mine, I have watch-only wallets on my Blue wallet for all my nieces, all 4 of them, right? So whenever one of them have a birthday, all of them get Bitcoin.
Right.
But I deposit it directly via my Blue wallet. Right? I just make a batch payment to all 3 of them, or 4 of them. Now, I can see how much they have, but to spend from their accounts, I have to go back to like hardware wallets to sign the transaction. So again, like, I'm not using their keys. I have their keys. When they turn 21, I give them their key to freedom. Like here, like, you know, the 21st key that you normally get, now it's a Bitcoin. It's like Bitcoin keys.
Wait,
right?
what's the 21st key?
So when you guys don't have that in your country?
I don't
so
know
when you
what
turn
it is.
21, your parents normally give you a key. Like, it's your key to like open up, you know, becoming an adult.
Oh, that's quite nice.
You guys don't have that?
No.
I thought every country had that.
we go get shit faced.
Yeah, we do
It's a
that when we're
cultural thing.
18.
Yeah. No,
But
21st is a big one.
You have a literal 21st party with your family and then with your friends, 2 different parties.
Oh,
And the
okay.
one with your family is like a whole, like, you dress up, your uncles, your aunts, like the people that raised you are there giving speeches about like what you were like as a kid, what you were like in your teens.
No, we do that. Yeah, it's a big birthday for sure.
Yeah, and
but
then
there's
you get a
no
key.
symbolism of giving like a ring to a
Get
wedding
key,
or
and it
yeah.
says 21 on your key.
Oh,
So for
okay.
me, Uncle Nico's going to give them Bitcoin keys.
Nice.
Like, here's your keys.
Here's your 21
I've
keys.
accumulated for you since like back then, and then here you go.
Okay, nice. One more quick question about Namibia and sort of payments there before we do a lightning round. So we were talking about Tando and, of course, mobile money and M-Pesa. Is there a similar solution in Namibia?
I wish there was. Everybody's like, Okin build it, and I'm like, I'm just one guy, guys. I can't
no,
do the
but
sovereign key. I can't. There's nothing like that.
So what I mean is there mobile money in Namibia?
No, that's the problem.
Oh, not at all.
So we don't
That's
have mobile
surprising.
money in the way from cell phone to cell phone. We have mobile money in the way that I can send from my bank account to your cell phone number, right?
Okay.
All the banks allow that, but there's no like the telecommunication companies are trying to do that. One just got a banking license like 5 years ago, 3 years ago. So they've been trying to build it out.
Which is the opposite of what happened with Safaricom. Because
Correct.
Safaricom never had a banking license until it needed a banking license.
And I was always like, why does a telecommunications company already have a banking license? Like, what are we doing here? And then it clicked. I was like, oh, mobile money. So once they come through with that, yeah, this is a way easier to accomplish, right? Because then we have mobile money, and then it's just talking to Tando, like, bro, let's go. Let's move this through.
Okay, so I guess East Africa is the target now, and other places that have mobile money, but maybe Namibia a bit later. Okay, we'll come to Namibia a little bit more in a second, but lightning round. So it's the first thing that comes into your head. Can pineapple go on pizza?
Definitely.
Okay, that's a strong one. Bits, sats, or bitcoins?
Come on, you know it's that.
Where will the Bitcoin price top out during this bull run?
It's not going to top out.
What would you ask Satoshi Nakamoto if you could?
Wow. I don't even know how to answer that. Like, can we go chill out? Like, I don't know. It's like when I met Jack, it was like, bro, everybody's swarming you. Nice to meet you. I'm Okin from Namibia. Bye. Like, you know, like, what am I supposed to say to you in the moment? Like, I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, let's go chill out. Let's have a beer.
That's a good idea. No, I'd also like to hang out with him, just get a sense of what he's like.
Or them, how many ever they are.
Yeah, the CIA, great people.
You know, the NSA, which is chilling.
What's the next one? It is, if you weren't working on Bitcoin, what would you be doing?
Trying to get into Bitcoin.
And if Bitcoin wasn't a thing,
wasn't a thing. It's probably still running a podcast or doing consumer because I used to own a consumer insights and marketing research company, so I'd probably still be doing that.
Consumer insights.
Consumer insights.
Insights. Sorry, I'm hearing poorly today. I'm so sorry.
Or it's just my voice that's going up and down a bit.
It's just so low and booming. It's wonderful. This must be a real auditory experience. That's definitely not a word. Okay, it is great. What is your favorite Bitcoin meme?
Nacho keys, nacho coins.
Good, very good.
Literally wearing it on my arm right now.
Oh yeah, and you got Vexel on the other.
Yeah.
It's a nice combo.
I mean, I was in Prague like a month ago. So.
Oh really? Oh, you went to the there was a thing.
No, I went to go and record the Treasure Academy sessions with Joseph.
Yep.
So we did the first video just came out this week.
Yeah.
The next one comes out Friday, and then I think the other one on Sunday.
Nice.
We did 3, and then we did a podcast, and then we recorded the Treasure Academy, the Treasure commercials as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just chilled.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was amazing.
Checked out some rap artists, that kind of thing.
Literally, Joseph took me to a rap show. Couldn't understand a word, but you know, cadence. When you understand cadence, you understand cadence, and like rap music is like.
Wait, they were rapping in Czech,
bro.
Wow.
Full on. Like, I was there for like 2 hours. Like, this is great. Like, I don't understand a word, but this is amazing. The energies, the cadences, the everything. You know.
Okay, fantastic. And the final one of the lightning round. What is one thing Bitcoiners need to do better as a community?
Stop preaching. Stop preaching at people and speak with them. I think that's it.
Okay, nice. That is at the end of the lightning round. But I mean, I'm going to add one in there. It's like, not what advice would you give, but what sort of approach should people take to Bitcoin in Africa in particular? Because this has been one of the big themes of the conference.
I think look at people as if they're like a family member that needs assistance instead of somebody you're trying to make money off of.
Okay.
Because if you add value, money will come. Money will find you because you are adding some value to somebody's life. And by that, I've had people come to me and be like, Okin, thank you so much for showing me how to accept Bitcoin. It's helped with my company so much. We're able to like work with the Wolf Shack when they couldn't sell alcohol for 3 months because they missed the period to apply for their liquor license. They'd been holding Bitcoin for 3 years. So they literally got to just sell a little bit. And every day they paid every one of their workers as if they were still selling, right? Because they had Bitcoin. So literally Bitcoin, when people say Bitcoin fixes this, I think they're using it wrong. It's not that Bitcoin fixes this, it's that Bitcoin can fix this. It's just how do you employ Bitcoin towards your problem?
Right.
So it's more about adding value to people's lives and assisting them, and then you'll get paid, bro. It's fine, because if you make people's lives better or easier, you're gonna make money.
Yeah, true. And it gets rid of a lot of those sort of pond scum jobs that are just extracting value. You actually get to create value. It's a lot more meaningful. Yeah, no, I agree. So what are the key use cases or the key problems perhaps that Bitcoin could address in Namibia? Is it very similar to the rest of like the sub-Saharan African belt? Or?
Not, again, because we're such a small population,
Yeah.
that population also has to employ itself, right?
Okay.
So our youth unemployment, we still don't have the figure.
Yeah.
We've been asking since before the elections, and of course they weren't going to give it to us then. But yeah, it's pretty high. Like, you've got people with degrees that are just sitting at home. But here's the problem. When you have hungry, smart people, the way they steal from other people is completely different from somebody that doesn't understand things. Like, if I'm just a hungry, rabid like person versus an intelligent, calculated person that doesn't have money and needs to feed their family, that is a dangerous person. And in Namibia, you have a lot of those people sitting around. So house burglaries are not being done by the guy just sitting in the bush. It's being done by a guy that understands mathematics and how to actually work with your systems, right? So the problem here that I think Bitcoin really solves is the thing of upskill yourself, and then you can get paid globally. Because again, I get paid from Start9 Labs because of, of course, who I am technically, and I'm always, loud and going on. I'm always trying to figure stuff out, and they're like, that's the type of person we want working for us because he'll figure it out. We don't have to, handhold him through stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But that opportunity wouldn't have come if I didn't upskill myself. 2019, I didn't know how to use command line. Now I run Bitcoin nodes and Lightning nodes and the sovereign key, putting together like things like that. It's a whole different aspect, but it didn't come from me just sitting around and saying, oh, I wish I had. No, I took to YouTube and I was like, let me learn. Same thing with my podcast, right? When I was the first African podcast to be paid in Bitcoin, right? Continent wide. But I didn't know how to set up a podcast. I had the recording equipment from Black Vulcanite while we were recording music, right? So I had my own mic and everything. And I was like, oh, let's go on YouTube and figure out how to do a podcast because I know creatives that are around the world. And I can just call them up and be like, bro, let's have a conversation and put it out there and let's have a podcast because we're all in COVID, right? We're all at home, locked away. So literally upskill yourself. And I think Bitcoin is one of the best ways or incentives to do that because now you can be paid globally. Remember, in Namibia, you can't get paid via PayPal. Right? You can pay via PayPal, but you cannot receive money via PayPal. So how do I get paid internationally for gigs that I do? Now I have to go to a South African and ask them to use their bank account for my PayPal payments to come through. And then, again, that's like a double fee.
What's the reason for PayPal not addressing Namibia?
Probably the population size.
Oh, so it's not because I was recently in the Caribbean. In the Caribbean, a lot of the nations there are not on PayPal at all, and it's because of these sort of reputational issues. Everyone says, "Oh, it's just because we're a smaller market. It's like harder to get in here and stuff." But between the lines, it's
I think PayPal is just like you guys aren't enough people.
Really? Okay. So it's
You
not
don't
like
have
some
enough
money laundering
online people that are doing like payments and things like that. No, we don't.
So then, the setup costs they wouldn't pay off.
But I know that the Ministry of the Minister of Information and Technology, she was like, yeah, no, we're gonna try and get PayPal, and I'm like, bro, I've already been showing people Bitcoin. Like, why would you want to accept a payment via PayPal that gets charged PayPal's payment, then your bank fee, all of that, tax, everything, when you can just get paid in Bitcoin, bro.
Well, this is the point about the leapfrogging, right? That a lot of these sort of intermediary technologies, which at the time felt like the best thing ever, right? Whether it's PayPal or Stripe or financial services and financial products that a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs take for granted because you can set up a website very quickly. You add a Stripe button, you add a PayPal button, and boom, you're getting paid, right? A lot of that is not available to the global majority, whether it's a size-based issue like talk of, or like historically they've been money laundering places or whatever. But now there's this amazing opportunity just to go, well, now we're just going to go from literally cash to Bitcoin. And it's borderless, it's completely permissionless, and anyone anywhere can start a website, chuck on a Bitcoin address or a Bitcoin Lightning address or, BTC Pay server or Swiss Bitcoin Pay, and away you go.
I mean, when I did my podcast, the visual part, I literally just put a QR code in the bottom left, and then I had like one of those, news things that come up.
The ticker things,
And I'm like, it points in and says, donating Bitcoin if you like what you're hearing. Like,
nice, okay.
People started donating in Bitcoin, and so I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy, bro. Like,
the first time you start getting like donations like that, I mean, I will say that a lot of the individual donations I receive tend to be like 1,000 sats.
Yeah.
Which is $1. Great. It's nice. But I would love it if it was,
But what it did for me was like, I'd be sitting at the bar and my phone would be, I just leave my phone on the table and it's and like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh yeah, people are paying me in Bitcoin while they're listening to the podcast. And they're listening. This is nighttime.
Yeah.
We're having drinks. I'm not near a computer. And people are like, they're doing what? I'm like, yeah, they're paying me in Bitcoin while I'm sitting here chatting with you because I've already done it and they like the episode. And then people are like, okay, there's something else here. So I use it a lot as also, like it's a marketing tool to show people, bro, like I could send you the Bitcoin. I don't even have to, I'm earning it. I'm not buying it.
Yeah, it's another sort of entry point or touch point so that people can finally sort of get on the mission, What are you most concerned about, or is there anything that keeps you up at night within the Bitcoin space, whether it's, I don't know, privacy or access or...
Oh, a lot of things. Well, the first thing that keeps me up at night is I don't have enough Bitcoin and sailors just taking all of the things that we were trying to buy and earn. But what really keeps me up at night is the fact that the biggest threat to Bitcoin is Bitcoiners. Like the inner wars, the childishness, the back and forth that doesn't really make sense just because you want more followers or whatever and more recognition. It's like, bro, just go live a fiat life. Please, just go over there. Like, you don't want to be here. Don't be here. I don't understand why guys that were all advocating for Bitcoin and are angry at the so-called Bitcoin maximalists, and now all of them want to tear down everything they've built right over the years. You built that. Now you want to tear it down because you're angry at that guy. That's stupid. That's childish. What are you doing? We're grown-ups. Right? And I think a lot of them just don't understand that. They don't understand. It's not even central bankers. Forget CBDCs. Forget Ethereum. Forget all of that. We are destroying Bitcoin from the inside. Why? Because we're childish. We're childish with each other. I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I find myself sometimes not quite falling into that trap, but being drawn into it. Yeah. And, we should absolutely critique and attack some ideas and concepts in the Bitcoin space, but we end up getting caught up in identity politics and personalities.
We play the man, not the ball.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and less slide tackles and more... good, clean slide tackles, let's say.
At least.
I don't know where I'm going with that metaphor. It doesn't make sense. Okay, you've said before, Africa doesn't need saving. It just needs space to grow.
That's right.
What do you mean by this? Could you expound on it?
Well, I mean, most people, aid is the problem here, right? Everybody would be like even when it comes to grants, everybody would like to not use their own money, of course. But what are the, indicators that grant has actually assisted and not hurt? Because the thing is, when you get aid, you get aid again, you get aid again. Now you're just looking for aid. You're not even trying to build from self. You're just looking with your hand out. Like, come on, you're gonna give it to me anyway. Please give it to me. But are you building, or are you just saying thank you and putting it in your pocket because you got aid? So that's what's happening here, because there's no checks and balances on the end. We like IMF does checks. Dude, they're hoping that you default. What are you talking about? So aid is a problem in that Africa has all of the resources, literally. I've said this since I was literally a teenager. If Africa were to close every single border to the rest of the world, they'd die. The rest of the world would die, not Africa. Africa has every resource that the world needs. How do you build cell phones without Africa? How do you build anything with the uranium? Where are you getting it from? Where are you getting your copper? Where are you getting your diamonds? Where are you getting any of these resources? It's all in Africa. So Africa does not need the world as much as the world needs Africa. Yet Africa doesn't know this because the world keeps giving Africa aid. Because why must I build if you're just going to help me out? I don't have to struggle. Come on, just give me the money. Just give me the money. It's fine. Right? And then what happens? You spoil us with, again, money that you create out of thin air. Right? Right? There's no, you're just exporting your debt to Africa. That's what the US does, basically. They export debt to Africa, then they claim back the resources. Again, there's no manufacturing industry in Namibia, yet we have diamonds, copper, gold, all these things. So they come extract it, take it back, they refine it, and then sell it at a markup to you. But it was your resource.
No transformation.
It's like coming to your house, I use your food to cook food, and then I sell you the plate in your own house, bro. That's crazy. So that's what I mean by that, right? Africa doesn't need aid. It needs time for people to leave us alone so that we can actually look and have a serious family conversation along the continent and say, bro, come on now. We can help you with that. That's not how to do that. Oh, hold on over there. You're going to hit it. Don't touch the stove. We need that family conversation, but we don't need people that are not part of the family telling us how to have the conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the problem. Yeah.
You could apply that message to Bitcoin as well, couldn't you?
Agreed.
Like, Western
Agreed.
Bitcoiners stop telling Africans how to Bitcoin. Yeah.
Like, you guys should huddle. Bro, we're trying to eat. What am I huddling? I'm trying to feed my family. You want me to just hold on to this thing for 5 years for what? Like, I understand the saving aspect, but like, I still got to feed my family.
Yeah.
And that's why people shitcoin so much, right? In Africa, because they're like, yeah, Bitcoin's for huddling, it's for saving. Like, but we can use it, these other things. And it's like, it's because of that whole concept of you must just huddle. How do I live day to day?
Yeah, yeah.
If fiat dies, what do I do? Because I'm supposed to be hodling, right? How do I get more Bitcoin? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, so this to Femi yesterday that hodling is also a bit of a financial flex. It's like, I have savings and I can put them in Bitcoin. Have you read the book, The Men Who Stole Africa? I think it's Paul Kenyon. No? The way you're describing the resources and being stolen and all that, but he frames it really well because he talks about all these horrible, resource seizures and then exportation and the lack of raw transformation in country.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says that, there's an alternative story to the creation according to Christians, which is, on the seventh day God rested. Yeah. It's actually on the seventh day God collected all the resources around the world, and on the eighth day he rested, but he lay on the ground in Africa and let his hands spill out.
Okay.
Yeah, and he said most of them went to the Congo. He said like Congo is the most resource-rich region.
Very much so.
Yeah, like, but it really frames it as okay.
And then look at the Congo.
Yeah, it's completely pillaged. It's
right?
Yeah.
You still have literal open slavery happening over there because if you think about it, you have kids in mines, bro. They're not supposed to be. That's a human rights violation. Yet how are all these companies getting the stuff that they need? They know that's a human rights violation.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, if you look at the aid that comes from the IMF, it comes with strings attached, right? Yeah, we'll give you this aid, but we need you to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
AKA don't manufacture, bro.
Completely transform and wreck your economy in the process.
Don't use the money to actually help yourself. Use it to help us. Okay.
Bitcoin can fix this.
It does and will fix it.
Okay. I've got some closing questions, but is there anything else that you wanted to ask that I didn't talk about today? Whether it's, I know we didn't touch on Easy Sats, for example. Is that still an ongoing project? Or?
Oh yeah, Easy Sats is very much an ongoing project, but it's evolved. I mean, in the beginning it was just about getting people some Bitcoin, making it easier for them to be able to obtain it. Then it came to like, okay, how do we make sure they understand how to store it? And properly save and like all that. And then we're like, okay, educationals. And we started doing edutainments. And now with, Treasure Academy doing what they're doing so brilliantly, it was like, bro, okay, let's just use that over here. It's way more structured. Then we started going into classrooms. Like I literally lecture in a computer classroom on Saturdays, like about Bitcoin. Right, when we do the Treasure Academy sessions. And then there's but BTC mining Namibia. And then my latest offering is the Sovereign Key, which is basically a USB that turns any computer into your computer. So you boot the operating system that's on the USB and you don't use the hard drive that's on the computer. So even if the computer has a keylogger, it won't know what you're doing on the Sovereign Key.
Right.
It's plugged in, yeah. And then we added like a Bitcoin pruned node, we added Sparrow Wallet, we added a seed signer emulator and VS Codium. So everything's open source that's on there. Again, puzzle, put the pieces together. Damn. And then so basically instead of donating computers, which are like really expensive and every 2 to 3 years, gotta upgrade the RAM or what, now you just donate a Sovereign Key and you can literally revamp libraries because you just need to plug it into a computer.
Yeah.
You can revamp internet cafes that have gone down because you just need to plug it into a computer. So like all those type of businesses could come back because of this. And then you could just donate a bunch of like Sovereign Keys instead of like, I can only afford 30 computers. How many Sovereign Keys is that? So that's the other conversation.
Whoa, okay. Cool project, eh?
Yeah, I was just like, it's always been my thing, like, how do you give those that have the least access to tools, the tools? And it's not rocket science. You just gotta break it down to like, what is the technology that's already out there that could solve this?
Okay. Bitcoin can fix this. It's drumming around my head now, man. Okay, so
I love it.
It sounds like, generally speaking, Namibia is on a pretty good trajectory. So where are we going to see the country in the next, couple of years? Maybe we'll even see it host its own Bitcoin conference.
Well, I'd love that. I think there's so many Bitcoiners that are carnivores, and Namibia meat. So yeah, I think that would definitely be a crazy one to go down. Namibia is on a great trajectory. I won't lie to you. There's this young guy. I think 2 of them. I think they're in their 20s, 23 something. They created an AI agent that is a teacher's assistant, basically, right? So like instead of the AI replacing the teachers, Now, when you're in rural areas and stuff, you could use this off of your phone as a teaching assistant to assist you in the way that you do your, you know what I mean? So like, there's a lot of things coming out. I mean, guys are trying to see how we can mine with flared gas and biomass and all those things. So like, there's intelligence, it's just opportunity.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that's what's coming now, is like, people are starting, and the government is starting to say, yo, we actually have the talent in-house. We don't need to be like paying all these people from outside to come, but we need to give them the platforms and the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And that is becoming more and more prevalent. So in the next 5 to 10 years, I really, yes, of course I hope, but I do see the potential for Namibia to literally leapfrog so many different countries, like even on the African continent from where we are. Because we're seen as like, Namibia's got 3 million people, whatever, you know. And it's like, okay, you won't see us coming. Just like the Spartans, right? They only needed 300.
Yeah. I need to rewatch that as well.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
The original one.
Maybe on the plane home. Okay. Where can people follow you and your projects?
Oh, so that's actually an easy one. At Okin_17 almost everywhere, like Instagram, Twitter. I'm not on Facebook. Stopped that in 2019. You guys should get off too. LinkedIn, you can follow EasySats.
But Okin is just spelled Okin.
Okin and then _17. On LinkedIn, I'm just my real name, Nikolai Shongarero, but you can also follow the EasySats page on LinkedIn, EasySats on Twitter, EasySats on Instagram.
Amazing. And on Noster?
Noster, EasySats as well.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually, I couldn't change it. They just left it as EasySats. Okay. So I don't talk too much crap on there because I'm like, oh my goodness, it's not my own name.
Good man. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, mate. I know you've got to go to a circular economy out in the sticks somewhere now.
It's going to be awesome.
Are you going to make it, do you think?
I don't know. What time is it? I hope that, I think I might still be able to make it.
Yeah.
But Joe, thanks for having me, man. It's always a blast to be around, just chilling and having a conversation.
Like you would do with Satoshi, hey?
Bro, but that would be beer.
Yeah,
We'd have to have beer. I'd have to ask a couple of questions.
It's midday, man. Yeah. We've had enough beer together this week.
That is true.
Thank you, sir.
Joe,
appreciate
always
it.
a pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
That was the wonderful Okin in Nairobi, Kenya. If you would like to check out his work, he is at Okin_17 on all the usual socials. I would briefly like to thank Plan B Network, one of my show sponsors, because they are a wonderful resource to learn about Bitcoin and take your Bitcoin education a bit further. So check out planb.network for any Bitcoin question you may have. Secondly, I would like to thank Coin Corner, a Bitcoin exchange based out of the Isle of Man, and they've been going for 10 years and they have a frankly excellent product that I love to use and I love to recommend to people. So please check out coincorner.com. I have been Joe Nakamoto, and if you hit subscribe, I will bring you some more Bitcoin content very soon. Do what you love and save in Bitcoin.